Why is life today so much better in so many ways than it was 50, 100, or 500 years ago? Because of science. Because of science. The purpose of science is to identify the facts of reality. From those facts derive a theory whose principles serve as a guideline for successful action. This is what I'm trying to get across to people. Something which I consider crucially important, and that will help elevate the entire sport or industry of bodybuilding in the public's eye and in the eyes of the scientific medical community. The way it's being practiced now, the way it's being written about now, the way it's being thought about now is so gall-darn stupid, Bill. I can't believe that these people are so impervious to reason. Most people are living not in a dark age, but in a black hole. Remember the Dark Ages of 500 years ago? The Dark Ages was a period when mankind's progress broke down. People turned away from the teachings of Aristotle. That is, they rejected logic, reason, knowledge, progress, and even freedom. When you reject reason, science, and progress, you also lose your freedom as an end result. After the Dark Ages came a Renaissance. The Renaissance was, the term Renaissance literally means rebirth, the rebirth of reason. The Renaissance was that period during which men returned to the teachings of Aristotle, the man who defined the laws of logic, identified the principles of thought. He was the man who discovered the scientific method. Up until recently, bodybuilding was caught up in the Dark Ages of its own. It wasn't until about 1969, 1970, with the emergence of Arthur Jones on the scene, that we exited the Dark Age and emerged into a Renaissance of our own. Arthur Jones was and is a man of reason. He understood the requirements of logic, the requirements of developing a theory. He did develop a theory which was validated by myself and many people. We couldn't find any contradictions in the logic. We also used it. We proved empirically that it does work. But as happened after Aristotle, the first Aristotle, his works were lost. And people did go into a dark age. Now, it's possible that the entire world of bodybuilding will fail to see the enormous importance of what Arthur Jones especially has contributed and what I'm attempting to perpetuate and expand upon by providing a broader philosophic scientific context within which to view bodybuilding. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you talk about...
I don't want to sound too professorial here, but this is obviously a subject that people value quite passionately. If they want to be assured of succeeding, then they have to acquire the specific appropriate knowledge necessary.
Right. Now, you talk about the, I know that you've studied all the way, bodybuilding, way back, and I think you said one time it, really originated in ancient Greece. I mean, what is your...
Well, that's something else a lot of bodybuilders don't know, and it's a very interesting point. The activity, the phenomena of bodybuilding itself arose 2,300 years ago in the age of classical Greek. The concept of philosophy itself arose at the same time with Plato. Plato was the man who identified the concept of philosophy itself and pointed out that there are crucial issues which pertain to philosophy, issues like what is reality, what is knowledge, how does man gain it and validate it. In the years since the classical Greeks, philosophy has undergone a dramatic deterioration. There was a little bright spark there during the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, but now here in the 1990s, the late 20th century, we're back into not just a dark age, but a black hole. People, once again, are failing to understand the values of knowledge, reason, logic, science, human progress, and freedom. It's only within a philosophical context that people can gain the knowledge required to achieve their goals. Remember, the basis of a rational approach to bodybuilding is the recognition that only the specific, appropriate knowledge can lead one to engage in the purposeful action required to successfully achieve a goal. It would help a whole lot if an individual took some time to study what knowledge itself is. How can you know that the ideas guiding you are valid if you don't know how to distinguish truth from falsehood? Again, I'm pointing all this out because I see this as my role in bodybuilding. I see myself as the voice of reason, bringing a wide-scale, philosophic, scientific context to all this. And if there are those of you who think I'm sounding too professorial or this is too intellectual, well, then you have my best wishes because you're lost. This is what human life is about, people, knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And what would you recommend for people who, I mean, I've gotten some letters from people who want to, get more into, the things that you are studying. I mean, the philosophy and stuff. You study Rand?
Right.
And
Ayn Rand is not the only, but the major philosopher of the 20th century who has brought back to our awareness the crucial importance of Aristotle, the man who, again, identified the laws of logic, defined the principles of thought, discovered scientific method. He pointed out that man needs a method of cognition, a method of thinking. Logic is that method. Logic is a method for using your mind. If you don't learn how to use it, then you're going to be lost. You will be not subject, but victim to all manner of false ideas. Bill, you and I are old enough to know that the entire world, including the world of bodybuilding, is literally awash in a sea of false ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.